Hello and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to this webinar. This is Clifford Edwards and
I'm Lori Oberly Edwards.
we're here to share secrets for sensitives with you. Thank you so much for coming and being part of this, and we look forward to interacting with you as we go through this webinar. One thing to know is that there's a slight lag between the time that we talk and that you actually hear it. There's a maybe 30 to 45 second lag. But the good news is that the chat room is instantaneous. So anytime that you want to interact with us, you can offer a comment or a question. Feel free to use that chat and we'll see it as soon as you type it in. Now again, there's a short lag between when we talk and you hear it. So if we ask a question and you type in an answer immediately after hearing it, it's probably going to be a little while before you'll hear us respond to it because of that lag. We're not ignoring you. We just don't necessarily see it right away.
So just click on that chat button and type away. We love interaction.
We do indeed. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. And I'd like to start. There we go. Getting our technology working. With this image, how many of you can relate to that? Well, likely, if you showed up on this webinar, it's because the word sensitive meant something to you, or something in the title of the Secrets for Sensitives reached out to you and grabbed you. And so if you're here and you can relate to this with your head spinning, or feels like you're dizzy or full of energy, or just want to go hide, you're in the right place. So thank you again for being here. We know there are literally hundreds of thousands of other ways you could be spending your Saturday. It's a gorgeous Saturday morning here in San Diego, but there's no place other that Lori and I would rather be than on this webinar with you right now.
Yes, we want to just thank you for coming this morning. It's really, we want to gift you with a recording of a one-time session in which we share a special technique that's great for coaches, teachers, trainers, and speakers, and other professional people. This technique is designed to specifically help you to have more clear and neutral and effective communications with individuals and groups. So just by being here for this webinar, we want to gift you that.
And we'll have a link to that at the end of the webinar. So stick around for that extra special gift that we'd like to share with you. So again, I'm Cliff Edwards, and this is Lori Oberly Edwards. We're here with you this morning. Our story is that both of us are natural helpers, and both of us have always been sensitive to the moods and emotions and energetic states of others. The issue, though, and maybe this is what you've been experiencing, is that until we learned these energy tools many years ago, we were really unaware of boundaries. We were unaware of what it was that was affecting us, and unaware of any techniques or tools for managing our energy. And so I'm speaking for both of us right now. I'll tell a little bit more about me personally, and Lori will tell about her personally also in just a moment. But many times we'd end up feeling overwhelmed by emotions or problems. We'd shut down at times and pull away and seem to be cold or uncaring, or like we didn't want to be around people. Recluses might be another word to describe it.
Or somewhat aloof or distant.
Yeah, aloof or distant, not because we didn't like people, but just because we really didn't know how to handle the energy. And so it was over, 25 years or so ago that Lori and I met in a spiritual training program. And the program was to learn more about energy and how to function more effectively in the world, especially as a sensitive. You know, before that time, I had worked in several professions that were people professions, where I was working with people. And I was always known as being really shy at times, but then from time to time, I'd also come off as aggressive or really intense. And again, that's because I didn't know how to manage my energy. And so if I picked up the energy or the moods of somebody else, I'd often reflect those back. And if it was intensity that was coming towards me, I'd either shut down or I'd either just somehow rise up to match it and shoot it back out at people. And it really didn't work very well. Well, since learning these energy techniques, some of which we'll be sharing with you this morning, I now have the ability to be very clear and neutral in almost any situation, and to be aware of the energy of other people and to recognize that what's happening outside of my little bubble or my personal space, it doesn't have to affect me. And that I can control, I can manage how I feel, what my moods and my energies are. And so it's allowed me to be so much more effective, especially in terms of being a teacher or somebody who's sharing tools and techniques and knowledge with others. Lori, what about you?
Thanks, Cliff. Well, by profession, I'm a registered dental hygienist. I specialize in medically compromised patients, including cancer patients, and have enjoyed that for over 30 years. I am also an energy healer. I do healing touch as a profession as well as teach it. I'm an integrative life coach. And in many ways, I feel that I'm living the life that I've dreamed about at this moment. I feel confident in managing my energy, having learned these tools, and can be in almost any situation. But it wasn't always like this. As a child, I was very shy. I often cried for no apparent reason. And as I got older and was in the profession of dental hygiene and working with these patients, I was very good at working with these patients and was empathetic with them and could be very helpful with them. What I'd end up doing, though, is at the end of the day, I'd just go home and I'd collapse on the couch. I was just exhausted. So I often felt overwhelmed by situations and people. I might be dealing with them well at the time, but then afterwards it was just completely exhausting for me, and I often felt overwhelmed. Having learned these tools, I can now take charge of my personal space and let go of those energies and emotions from people, from the environment around me. So I don't have to take on that stuff. And also be able to replenish my energy, to re-energize myself. I feel much more expansive and present to each moment. And we're so happy to be able to share some of these tools with you this morning.
Yeah, so thank you for listening about us. And that's enough about us for now. And let's get to what's in this for you. Because that's why we're here. We're here to share for you. In a couple of minutes, Lori's going to take us through a short, relaxing presencing exercise that'll help us get really present and focused for the course today or the webinar this morning. And then we'll share with you exactly what you need to know to determine if you're a sensitive. Again, there was probably something in the Facebook ad or the emails we sent out that caught your eye. And maybe you know you're a sensitive, maybe you don't. But we're going to give you ways that you can specifically tell for sure. And we're going to give you some really useful context for thinking about yourself and how you exist in the world and how you interact with others. We're going to discuss life force energy and energy field and how all of that works so that you have that level of context. And then we're going to teach you some energy secrets. And these are 3 simple yet powerful tools that you can use anywhere, anytime, to be able to feel more centered and clear and neutral, even in emotionally charged situations or where it's energetically intense. We'll teach you a tool for feeling connected and present and safe so that you can easily let go of any emotions or energies or anything else that you might have taken on that really doesn't work for you. And then we're going to teach you how to replenish and refresh yourself and feel like you're in the middle of a nurturing, warm shower, no matter what's going on around you. You can always re-energize yourself if you're feeling exhausted or wrung out or just not at the level you want to be. And with each of those tools, this is going to be an experiential kind of a webinar. So with each of these tools, we'll explain the concepts first so that your mind can understand them. And then we're going to have you close your eyes and do the exercise or do the tool with us, because each of these tools is a visual energy tool. It's a tool that you visualize and use personally like that. So we'll take you through the exercises of visualizing and actually using the tools. And then as we use the tools and as you get that experience with them, we'd love to hear in the chat window anything that you experience.
We want your feedback.
So we're also going to, near the end of this, we're going to tell you about a class series where you can learn the full range of tools. Because this morning, we're giving you what we think are three of the real basic but most valuable, the most fundamental tools that can serve you anywhere and anytime. And then there's a whole toolbox that we'd love to share with you, and we'll tell you more about how you can do that at the end, towards the end of the webinar. And then we'll also, as we go along, there's time for some questions and some sharing. So again, don't feel shy about getting on the chat box and sending in your experiences or your questions.
And the most important thing is for you to have fun. This is something that the more you feel at ease and just play with the energy and do it in different situations and experience it, the more fun you'll have and the more effective you'll be.
Okay, now Lori's going to take us all through a presencing exercise.
Great. So this short presencing exercise gives you that opportunity to separate yourself from any of the activities of the day and temporarily let go of all other thoughts and considerations. It's a moment or two for you to breathe and relax. Bring your attention and awareness fully to this moment, so that you can get the very most out of the concepts and tools we'll be offering. Just set aside any distractions and activities. If you have your computer, close email and browser, just have what's in front of you. Take a deep breath and focus your attention on your body and easily relax. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. And just take a few deep breaths. Notice your breathing as you breathe in and out. And as you breathe in and out, imagine easily letting go of all the activities and concerns of the day. Bring all of your attention right here and now into this moment. So as you breathe out, just let go of any distractions. As you breathe in that stillness, that quiet, being present to the moment. And choose to participate fully in this webinar for the next 90 minutes or so. And if your eyes are closed, slowly open them. And we'll get started.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And thank you to our grandfather clock there. We love that.
That brought us back into the present.
All right. So we're going to share now how to define or determine if you're a sensitive. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you're here because something about the word sensitive or what we're offering in this webinar caught your eye, caught your attention. Otherwise, why would you make time to be here on a Saturday? Again, you've got lots of other things you could be doing. but you related to that word, or you wanted to know how to take charge of your moods or feelings. So sensitives are people, very simply, who are particularly sensitive to the energies around you. Remember a time when you were with somebody with very intense energy. Now, maybe it was somebody with a, quote, powerful personality, somebody domineering and controlling. Maybe it was somebody who was angry or upset with you. Just remember what that felt like. Now, for me, I can often feel that in my solar plexus right here. When I'm with somebody who has really intense energy, or they're angry, or they're controlling or domineering, I feel it right here. Other times, when I'm with people who have really powerful emotions or energy, I'll feel it in my head. It's like I get thick-headed and lightheaded and all fuzzy, and I can't think straight because they've got their energy just right smack in the middle of my head.
I often look like a deer in headlights, just kind of stunned.
Other times I might experience it as some constriction around my throat, particularly if the other person doesn't really want to hear what I have to say, or is afraid that I'm going to call them on something. So there's lots of different ways that you may experience the sensitivity. And as we talk about this, if there's anything you'd like to share about how you experience intense energies, or how you can sometimes tell you're sensitive, go ahead and put it in the chat box there.
You might feel jittery or irritable. You might have a pressure in your chest.
You might just feel exhausted and like you want to go hide somewhere. And so the idea here is for you just to be able to recognize that something's going on. Now, just to give you a little foundational background information, we're all vibrational beings. We're made of energy. From our thoughts to our emotions and even our physical bodies, you can think of us as being composed of pure energy. You know, Einstein's E equals MC squared, that's easy for me to say, tells us that energy or mass, energy equals the mass of something times the speed of light squared. That's the formula there. But that mass and energy are essentially equal. And that mass is energy that is vibrating at a different frequency. You can think of your body as being a much denser frequency of energy than your thoughts or your words or the beam of light, the ray of light that's coming from the sun. So the only difference between you and a thought or a word, perhaps, is the frequency, the density of that energy vibration. And everybody, all of us, are aware of energy and sensitive to it at some level. It's just that many of us are a lot more sensitive. If you're an introvert, you might be more sensitive, tend to be more sensitive than extroverts. If you were shy as a child, perhaps the shyness was because you were sensitive and didn't really know how to handle yourself around intense people and situations. And so it's easy to make the sensitivity mean something negative or mean something bad about ourselves, but that's really not the case. It actually, the good news is, being an energy sensitive means that you have gifts and you have abilities that many people have turned off or don't really have access to. But there is a challenge for us as sensitives. And the challenge as a sensitive is that you might frequently find yourself feeling exhausted or burnt out. It takes energy to try to push through some of these intense situations sometimes, or to deal with energy or emotions that you've taken on. Again, another challenge of being a sensitive is that you might easily take on the moods and emotions of others. When I was in junior high school and high school, people loved to talk with me about their problems. I've been a coach, a professional coach, since 1998, but even early in my life, I was coaching, I was supporting people, I was helping people. I had a natural ability to ask questions that help people make changes. But you know, at the end of those conversations, I'd often feel like crap and they'd feel great because I'd taken on all of their negative emotion or their worry or whatever. I just didn't know any different. Another challenge of being a sensitive is that at times you might just want to go out and hide somewhere and sequester yourself from others, become a hermit. I know that even today, my sensitivity sometimes leads me to have fantasies of going out and just running away from everything and getting a little shack out in the desert and living by myself, miles from anything and everyone. Now, of course, eventually and pretty quickly, I'd probably get bored, but it's the sensitivity that causes me to feel like that many times. And then another challenge of being a sensitive is that you might feel like there's something wrong with you. As I shared, it's easy to see that as a sensitive, you're reacting differently than other people. And so you make it mean something about you, that you're different or there's something wrong with you. But again, that's not the case. It's actually a wonderful, wonderful tool. So right now, I'd like to ask a question here. I'm going to take a poll and I'm going to ask, do you believe, based on what you've heard so far, do you believe that you're an energy sensitive person? If so, just click yes, yes, definitely. If you think so, but not quite sure, yes, I think so. We're not sure, probably not. Nope, not all. Go ahead and respond to the poll and we'll let you know what the results are. Okay, we'll wait a moment because it's going to take a few moments for that to come back to you. In the meantime, the purpose and value of these energy tools is that, again, they can help you take charge of your own moods and energies.
They have 100%. Yes, definitely.
And that you don't have to be at the effect of the energies and the circumstances around you. All right, so with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Lori, and she's going to tell you more about these energy secrets and the purpose of them, and share a little personal experience again as well.
So one of the first things we're going to do is a play with energy. You might be sensitive, and yet sometimes you're not aware of the energy itself. So put your hands together and rub them together.
Like this, rub your hands a little bit. That helps to sensitize the nerve endings.
And then go ahead and just put your hands just a little bit away from each other, not touching. Notice if you sense anything. And then slowly bring your hands apart, just like an accordion. And then bring them back together and bring them apart. And just now pretend it's almost like a ball in between your hands. And go ahead and share on the chat what you notice. You might notice difference in temperature. You might notice a vibration. Might feel sticky or smooth. Whatever that is, there is no one right answer. We're just playing. You're going to pretend that you're throwing it up and catching it.
See how big that ball seems, and see if you can
expand it.
Yeah, with your intention, expand it.
Let's see if it feels dense or if it feels light. What do you notice? I'm noticing some heat and a little bit of prickly sensation. kind of like I'm holding a cloud in my hand. And we're going to keep on playing with energy. And now I want you to notice that around you is an energy field that's just as much you as your physical body. Often called an aura or energy field. It's an egg shape all the way around your whole body. It's penetrating bodies. So they're what's considered layers, but they're not really layers as much as each one is connected directly to your physical body. So each portion of that energy field goes all the way to your physical body and beyond. And each one of those fields includes abilities and memories. And so with your hands, go ahead and just first feel at the top of your head what that feels like.
Again, you might rub your hands together again to get them a little sensitive. And we noticed that comment there, it took a while to feel, and that's fine. If you're not used to feeling energy, it may take a little while to get used to feeling it. But
feel above your head, and now kind of feel down your body. You can feel down to your feet.
notice if it feels different in different places on your body too.
You might notice tingly sensations in certain areas in front of your body, feel behind your body. You might even feel like there's empty spaces or more prickly sensations. Just go ahead and feel all the way around. And now reach up and see if you can sense where the edge of that energy field, that bubble that's just as much you as your physical body. And then put your other hand outside what you feel is beyond that and see if you notice a difference. And go ahead and share that if you want to share.
Yeah, anything at all that you notice about moving your hands around and feeling. I know you may.
If you feel kind of funny, that's what makes it more fun and play.
Yeah, you may feel a little self-conscious, like, oh, I hope somebody doesn't walk by and see me waving my hands around like I'm swatting flies or something.
Yeah. If you're outside, just ignore them. So what do you notice? One thing I notice is it feels more airy outside beyond my energy field. And now go ahead and have that intention that your energy field, the edge of that energy field, the outside, is about 1 foot to 1.5 feet from your physical body. And notice how that feels. And now go ahead and imagine that you're pulling it in closer to your body. So that edge is closer. And notice how that feels. Does it feel uncomfortable or does it feel familiar? And now go ahead and move it out again, maybe 12 to 18 inches, maybe 2 feet, whatever feels comfortable. And now push it out even further and see what you notice.
Another way to think about your energy field, I mentioned it earlier, it's your personal space. And so if you say, hey, get out of my space, if somebody comes up really close to you, you may notice that it feels different. And you can sometimes feel their presence very strongly because they're right up next to you and their energy field is overlapping with yours. And
so anything that's inside our energy field, we're responsible for. So if you have your energy field expansive, then whatever is in that field, like if you walk into a room and you pretty much put your whole energy field in the entire room, you're going to not only be sensitive to other people or other things in the room, you're going to be responsible for that. So I just kind of sense that anybody listening is like, oops, let's bring our field in closer. But you don't have to have it real close, because that can maybe feel a little bit constricting.
That's the feeling you get when you're trying to be really small and hide. You know, like if you're playing hide and seek and you're trying to hide behind the tree that's about this big, and you stand back there and you're just pulling yourself all in, trying to be as small as possible.
I call it stealth mode.
And even if you don't consciously know you're doing that, people will naturally do that when they're trying to hide. They'll naturally bring their energy field in and bring their attention really close. And we're going to talk about attention in just a moment here too.
Yeah, even if you're concentrating on doing something really intense on your computer, very often you have a little bit more constriction just because you're focusing directly on one particular thing.
So that's energy field. And again, any comments you'd like to make or share, we would love to hear them. So the next concept we'd like to go over is the point of presence. Before we get to the point of presence, it's useful to understand that your body is a tool or a vehicle that you use for navigating around and experiencing the world. And as I mentioned earlier, your body's composed of energy that has a particular fairly low vibrational frequency and is somewhat dense. Now, I want to talk about energy awareness and what that means. We're becoming aware of energy in terms of your energy field, but the next step is to become aware of your attention, where you put your attention. And so energy awareness means being aware of yourself in relation to your body. And when I'm talking about yourself, again, I'm talking about your attention, or what we call your point of presence. So one of the components of energy awareness is, where are you in relation to your body? Now that may sound funny. Well, I'm right here, I'm with my body. But is that always the case? When you're walking down the street, okay, I'm going to be a little bit stereotypical here in terms of talking about women. If you walk past a store and you see some really cute shoes on the rack just behind the window, do you put your attention into those shoes? Does your attention go right into the store, or do you keep your attention with yourself? Typically, when you have your attention in that way, you're projecting your attention and awareness, your point of presence, outside your body. And so a way to tell that you're outside your body is if you've got your attention in the store on those shoes, then it's much more likely that you're going to trip over a crack in the sidewalk or run into a telephone pole, because you're not with your body. You're in the store admiring those shoes. Or maybe you see somebody across the street and you can't quite tell if it's that person. You think it's, oh, there's my friend. And so you put all of your attention right smack dab over on that other person across the street. And again, you abandon your body, you leave your body to fend for itself there, and you might get bumped into or run into a parked car or any other number of things. So that's the where, being aware of where you are in relation to your body. And then the other component is, when are you in relation to your body? Now again, that may sound kind of strange because your body's always in the present moment, but you as a being, your attention has the ability to go into the past, to be in the present, or to go out into the future. Anytime that you're thinking about something that happened in the past, your point of presence, you're projecting yourself into the past, at least to a degree. Anytime you're thinking about or dreaming about the future, you're projecting your point of presence into the future, at least to some degree. And so the best place, or the most potent place for you as a being, is right here and now. having your point of presence in the present. Your point of presence is the point of awareness and creativity and influence that you have. It's the place and the time from which you have the power to make clear decisions and to take effective actions. And again, your attention is all it takes. When and where you place your attention determines whether or not you're in your point of presence and in your point of power. So the most effective place for your point of presence is within your own body and energy field. And the most effective and useful time for you and your point of presence is right here and right now in the present moment.
So with this point of presence, what I'm going to do is show you the center of your head as one point of presence that it can be very powerful. The center of your head is also correlated with the sixth energy center, the brow energy center, or what's considered the third eye. So I'm going to show you how to find the center of your head by putting your fingers above your ears and imagine a line of energy from one finger to the other finger, and get that in your mind.
Or through your mind.
And now take your fingers and put one right between your eyebrows and the other finger behind your head at that base of that eminence back there where that little sticks out, and then it's kind of a depression. And now imagine that line of energy between those two fingers. And now remember the line of energy between your fingers above your ears. And where those two lines intersect is the center of your head. So just imagine putting your attention right there in the center of your head. And that's your point of presence at this moment. And this could be very powerful because the brow energy center, the center of your head, is a place where you have clear seeing and insight. It's ability where you can see energy, called clairvoyance. It's also the most neutral place in your head, in your body. If you put your point of presence in the center of your head, you're going to be much more neutral to situations and activities. You're going to not be affected by emotions or judgments or fears or any limited beliefs. It's a place where you can take in energy. So I often like to imagine it being like a observation deck where I'm sitting in the center of my head looking out. But wherever I put my attention, I don't have to be out there. I can stay in the center of my head. I can stay in my body and be present to what I'm observing without becoming the effect of what I'm observing. So I can be in a crowded room and be in the center of my head and be neutral to what's going on all around me. I could be in the airport with lots of people, lots of activities going on, and still remain centered in the center of my head and be able to be much more discerning of what to do next, especially if there's delay in airlines, and to be very present to what other people are experiencing without becoming the effect of their emotions or their judgments or feelings. So it's a really powerful place to be able to observe without becoming the effect of what you're observing. And always have that place where you can go to. Now, it's not something that we want to be all the time. When I first learned this tool, I was new at it and thinking, okay, this is what they're saying is so powerful, so I'm going to be here all the time. This is a great place to be. But what I found is in certain situations, especially when I met Cliff and we were dating, it wasn't a real hot place to be in the center of my head when I wanted to connect with him, and especially on a more intimate level, it was just kind of flat. And in fact, one time Cliff said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm in the center of my head."
What's the matter? Don't you like this?
So it's a great place to put yourself with intention, but many times I want to be in my heart and just have that open heart connection with people, or in intimate situations. We're very often in our sacral area. So having that awareness, being able to move and be aware at any moment where our point of presence is, then we have the choice on where we are going to be. And you can play with that and just experience, like when I put my attention in the center of my head, what am I aware of? When I put my attention on my throat, maybe if you're speaking engagement or something like that, you want to put your attention and being able to express yourself fully, to express your truth, to express what you're going to be saying next.
Now, I just want to make clear why we have this slide up here. Again, the center of a head, I like to think of it as a command center, or I really love to imagine it being like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. And so this slide represents like a command center where all the information from outside of you, from all of your senses, comes up and is presented to you. Again, as Lori was saying, you don't have to go out. You don't have to project yourself out to get the information or to be part of the experience. You can let it all come to you in a much more neutral way. Okay.
So that was the secret, energy secret number 1 is center of head, point of presence. And now we're going to go on to energy secret number 2.
Just one more little tip about the center of the head. If you're going into intense situations or maybe like meetings, places where you need to be neutral, excuse me, or centered where it's useful, that's where the center of the head really will work effectively for you. And so if there are people who know how to kind of goad you or tease you, or you get easily offended perhaps, or in situations feel a little overwhelmed, if you put yourself in the center of your head first, or even during a situation like that, it can give you much more sense of presence and power and being in command of yourself. Okay, so grounding. All right. Grounding is a term that comes from electricians or electrical engineering. Grounding in the terms of electricity simply means providing a connection to the ground, to the earth. And it provides a path for harmful or stray energies to be safely released into the ground. You know, almost all modern plugs have 3 prongs on them. There's the positive, there's the negative, and then there's the ground prong. So that if you get some fluctuations in current, or you get a little overload or a little extra current running through, it can go into the ground instead of destroying your smartphone or your appliance or whatever it is. In terms of your body, grounding is very much the same idea. It's providing a connection between your body and the earth to give stray energies or things that really aren't natural for you or aren't in affinity with you, giving those things a place to go. And so I'm going to explain how grounding works, and then I'm going to I'm going to lead you through a little closed eye exercise in experiencing grounding. So grounding simply means connecting your root chakra. We haven't talked about chakras, but we'll be going into the chakras in detail in our class series that follows this. The root chakra sits at the base of the spine. The color of it is predominantly red, and the function of the root chakra tends to be the grounding, keeping you safe and feeling connected to the planet, and survival, keeping your body safe and keeping your body surviving.
It's a foundation for us. It's where we have our foundation and ability to have structure and safety and centeredness.
Okay, and so you're going to be connecting your root chakra with the center of the earth. Well, the center of the earth, typically we think of it as hot, energetic, dynamic. You can think of it as a giant energy recycling center, a place where you can release energies that don't work for you, and they'll go into the planet to be recycled and neutralized and made available to anything or anyone that needs neutral energy. Now, in terms of the grounding, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, you don't have to worry about polluting the Earth because the center of the planet is great at recycling energy. So what we're going to be doing is creating a grounding cord. And I'll walk you through it first with the step-by-step instructions. There goes his cord. And then I'll have you do it. Actually, I'll have you close your eyes and do it now as I walk you through the steps. So relax and breathe. Close your eyes if you would. And put your attention in the center of your head. Just easily allow your attention to rest there between your between your ears and behind your eyes. And then from the center of your head, imagine sending a simple hello to your first chakra, your root chakra at the base of your spine. And notice what happens. Now, I'm not sure what will happen for you, but the very first time I did that, I felt a little tingle. And it kind of surprised me to feel a little tingle there. So once you acknowledge that first chakra, that root chakra, now again from the center of your head, imagine sending a little hello to the center of the planet and simply acknowledging the center of the Earth. And again, notice what happens and notice how you experience or how the center of the planet occurs to you today. There's no right or wrong in this. It's just you acknowledging the center of the Earth. Now that you've acknowledged your first chakra in the center of the Earth, imagine a line of energy or a connection between those two. Just let it appear effortlessly, simply by your intention. And you can have it be any kind of different connection you want. If a line of energy seems to work for you, that's great. If you want to make it like a great big thick rope, that'll work too. Or a big pipe, a tree root, a beam of light, almost anything that feels good to you and maybe even has a little amusement for you will work for you. And then as soon as you make that connection, just notice what happens. Notice what you feel. How does it feel different? And then be aware also, as I mentioned earlier, that the grounding cord is a way for you to release energies that don't belong to you. And so simply let gravity do the job of gently tugging, gently pulling any energies, any emotions, any thoughts or beliefs that you don't need anymore, pulling those things out and draining them all the way to the center of the planet.
Any energy that doesn't serve you.
It could be something that you've picked up from somebody else. It could be an idea or a concept. It could be emotions of your spouse or a child or a friend that you've been carrying around for a while. Anything that doesn't work for you in present time. And again, this doesn't take any effort on your part. The grounding cord does all the work naturally. So breathe and notice how that feels. And this is a really great thing to do at the end of a day if you've had a really busy day. It's a great thing to do first thing in the morning to connect yourself to the planet so that you feel like safe and secure. One of the things this grounding cord is great for is helping you feel like you really belong. You have a right to be here, and this is your planet and your body, and it gives you a sense of ownership. And then at the end of the day, it's a great way to release things that you've picked up and clear yourself out. Just letting them all go. Lori, go ahead. Share one of your favorite visuals for that.
Oh, one of the things that I like is if I'm at work and it's a busy, stressful day, just going to the restroom is helpful because as I go in the toilet, you can imagine just flushing any energy that doesn't serve you, any energy that you need, any energy that you might have accumulated, just letting it go. So you can do it physically as well as just imagining that if you want a big flush. Also, you can do it in your car. If you're in traffic, the car can have its own grounding cord. You can be grounded. You can do it on ships or planes. Remember, your grounding cord is going all the way to the center of the planet, so it doesn't matter where you are, whether you have your feet on the earth or whether you're in a plane or in a boat. It always goes to the center of the planet, so it is connected and everything releases there. The planet loves energy to neutralize. Having that connection with the earth allows us to be much more conscious with the earth as well. So this not only helps us to release any energy that doesn't serve us, but we are, as we connect more deeply with the earth, we have much more connection with what the earth needs as well. So
yeah, being grounded, grounding to the planet helps you become a better steward of the planet as well. Now, a couple more things to emphasize about grounding is that you don't have to be seated and you don't have to have your eyes closed. Once you imagine a grounding cord, you can just intend for that to stay with you. And you can get up and you can move around. You can have a grounding cord while you're walking through crowded places. And it would be interesting for you to play with that a little bit and see what happens if I'm in, say, this crowded place that's full of energy and I have a grounding cord down. And then, does it feel any different if I don't? When I have a grounding cord down, are people more likely to move around me? And if I don't have a grounding cord, do I get jostled a little more? It's really interesting to play with that.
And one thing to know is that you can ground your car, but this is a tool for you, and don't use it on other people.
So one more thing, and this is a little game that you can play with a friend, a partner, when you're done with this webinar today, just so you can prove the grounding to yourself. So here's what you do. You go to your friend. I'm going to take us off so we can kind of demonstrate here. So you can stand up, and without a grounding cord, you can ask your friend or your partner to just give you a gentle shove. You know, just not hard, not two hands, just a gentle push. And notice how you experience that. Notice what happens. And then you take a moment and you imagine your grounding cord still standing there. And then once you've got your grounding cord down and you're aware of it, ask your friend to give you a little push again. And it's very, very different. You'll experience it very differently. It's almost eerie the first time you do it.
It's a lot easier standing up too than sitting because we're in a cushy. It's really amazing standing, the difference.
So try that out just to give yourself a real experiment, something tangible about the grounding cord.
And you can imagine different colors. I like to imagine sitting on a tree trunk with the roots going down. Often use a vine or even a waterfall and just letting it rush down. So playing with different things, playing with different colors. If you have a beam of light, have fun with it.
Okay, so we're 2 secrets out of the 3. We've gone through 2 of these already. How many of you can see already where these tools, these techniques can be of use to you in your life? How many of you can see that there's situations and places that it will serve you to be able to use the center of your head, to be aware of your point of presence, and to have that grounding cord? Go ahead and just click on the survey, the little poll over there in the right hand. And we're going to move on, and Lori's going to share with you the
third energy secret.
Oh, one more thing. Just notice as you're considering this as well, just think about times that it would be useful for you to have these tools at work or in family situations, anywhere else. Can you see where they'll already see where they'll be useful? All right, and Lori's going to share with you now our final secret.
So golden suns is our final secret. And as you release energy with your grounding, you probably notice, you may have noticed the flow, you might have noticed a difference in the sensations in your body. But as we release energy, our body is a vacuum. And so as we release energy, we want to make sure to replenish. And the best thing to replenish with is our own life force energy. And so imagine a gold sun above your head. And that is of your own life force energy that's in affinity with you right now. We're going to show you where you can just imagine reaching up, or you can reach up with your physical hands, or just imagine reaching up with your hands and bring a big ball of gold sun through the top of your head. You can imagine rays of light lighting every single cell of your body, all the way down to your little toes. That's filled with your own natural life force energy. I often like to think, just imagine it getting bigger and bigger, as much as I'm going to need, and then let it go through the top of my head and filling every single cell of my body. One of the things I like to do is imagine that is liquid gold, like a really amazing gold nectar that's filling in every single cell in my body and my energy field. So notice how that feels, and have that intention that it's replenishing your energy, filling in all those empty spaces that you created as you release through your grounding. And go ahead and share. We've already had a share on.
By the way, on the poll, the results of the poll are 100% of those of you who responded. You can already see how and where you can use these tools in your life. That's great. It's our intention here is to really provide value for you.
So we'd love to hear your shares on what you've learned so far with those 3 tools: a point of presence with center of your head and your grounding, and then imagining a big ball of gold light over your head, filled with your own natural life force energy. Again, watching it expand until it feels really good to you. It can be huge above your head, and then bringing it down through the top of your head into your body, filling up your entire body and that field around you. And then any excess, you can just imagine going down that grounding to the center of the planet. So it's like a cycle. As you bring in, you can also continue to release.
And this golden sun tool is also something you can use anywhere and anytime. It's not something that you have to limit to a time when you can sit down and close your eyes and imagine. Especially after you've practiced these tools a little bit on your own, then you can be out in the world. Sometimes I'll be out walking around, maybe towards the end of a walk, and feeling a little tired, and I'm going to bring in a gold sun. I'll just imagine that happening right there. Or driving, as Lori mentioned before. Again, if you use the grounding tool at the end of the day to release things, then it's always really valuable and highly recommended to fill yourself back up again, and to use that gold sun to fill in any places that you've released. Because like Lori mentioned, when you release energy, it creates a vacuum, it creates an empty space. And so if you fill it back in almost immediately or quickly with your own energy from your golden sun, then you're reclaiming that.
Yeah, and you might have noticed, not knowing this tool, that sometimes when we release energy, we feel good for a moment, and then it's like you feel the same, because sometimes it's like a magnet that whatever energy was there, if we don't completely become neutral to it, it comes back because there's space there that it had been in before. So it's almost like a rubber band effect. So as soon as you release, having that intention that you naturally bring in your own life force energy into those spaces, then you don't have that issue. I like to think of it kind of as people have a morning cup of coffee, or they have to have a candy bar in the afternoon. You can have your own gold sun break and bring in your energy of your own, rather than having to do it chemically with coffee or a chocolate bar or something like that that's not quite as helpful for you. So use this tool, have fun with it.
Yeah, imagine if at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're hitting that slump, instead of going and getting your third cup of coffee for the day, or going to the snack machine and getting, like Lori said, the chocolate bar to get the little sugar boost, knowing that either way, it's just going to be a temporary fix. Imagine that instead you brought in a great big golden sunshine. And I think one thing we haven't mentioned yet is that you can also put whatever energy level or quality or characteristic into that golden sun that you want. Say you're going to go into a meeting and you feel that you want to come across as enthusiastic and also confident. So in that golden sun you create above your head, you can imagine filling it with the energy and the qualities of enthusiasm and confidence, your own unique energies of enthusiasm and confidence, so that as you bring that down in, you can feel it, you can become it, and you can express more of that.
Some of you are already working with energy, and just having that intention of an open, unconditional love, bringing that down and having that nourish you, as well as being around others. They can sense that energy that you brought in, that you're in affinity within at the moment.
So, as Lori said with some of the other tools, play with these. You know, we didn't emphasize enough at the beginning that this is really kindergarten.
We
This
like
is
to
a
call it a
playground.
spiritual kindergarten.
This is a playground. It's a time and it's a place for you to experiment with things, to be curious, to take on a beginner's mind. And if you already know stuff about chakras or already doing a lot of energy work, just put all that to the side for the time being and take these tools in and play with them on their own terms and see what happens.
Imagine that you're a child being curious and experiencing things for the first time. That's the best place to be when you're learning something like this, because energy is a way of getting connected to our deeper levels. So play with it, have fun with it.
And again, try different colors, try different sizes, play with your point of presence, as we were talking about. Imagine I'm looking out the window right now into a palm tree. Wow, all of a sudden I get a little shaky in my chair as I do that. So play with all these different tools and see what happens. The more you play with them and experiment with them, the more of an expert you'll become at how they work, and the more confidence you'll have in being able to use them when you really need them. Okay, anything else about gold suns right now, Lori?
Not right now. Let's go ahead and tell them what we'd like to.
Tell them about the course. Okay.
Course, yes.
Well, we're going to be, so stick around for a few more minutes. We'll, at the end of this call, we'll give you that free download, the gift recording of another tool that we taught a couple of years ago to a group of people professionals. But for right now, I'd like to share with you a little bit about, let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy this slide since I made it. I love this slide. So
This is part of kindergarten.
grounding and replenishing yourself, it leaves you feeling nourished, energized, clear and clean, and ready for almost anything. Don't you love the look of enthusiasm on that little girl's face? I do too. All right. So if you liked what you experienced today, and if you can see the value of these, we're going to be teaching an entire toolbox. We're offering another 5-week class series that we call the Keys to Your Subtle Energies. And as I talked about at the beginning, there's just a little reminder on this slide here. As humans, we're vibrational beings. From our thoughts and emotions to our physical bodies, we're composed of pure energy. And so learning to deal with your energies and to effectively manage your energies is going to make your life easier You're going to be able to feel more clear, confident, joyful, and in charge of yourself. And so in this Keys to Your Subtle Energies, we'll be teaching a whole range of self-healing and energy tools. And just like we did today, we're going to talk to your mind a little bit, and then we'll take you through guided exercises where you learn to use these and experience the tools. One of the next ones we'll be doing is we'll be going into chakras in a lot greater detail.
So the chakras are also called energy centers, and the main ones that we often experience and talk about are the ones that are along the line of your spine. So the root energy center, just briefly, is what we talked about, how you connect with that before you ground, has to do with your survival and foundation.
And then we'll be talking about each of the chakras moving up along the spine there and the qualities that each of the chakras
So
has.
we'll go into more details, but all of these have to do more with your, the lower three have to do more with your body, then the heart is more like the center, and then above that it goes more spiritually. But they still relate more to your body than anything above that. So we will go into detail about that. They do have certain functions that by knowing that, you can use them to support you and be more effective in your life and have more clear direction in your life. And so you'll have fun with that.
Yeah, and one thing, and just to mention real quickly, just to give you a little taste, is Lori was talking earlier about that sixth chakra, or the third eye, and that this is the one where you can actually see energy or access a quality or what we call clairvoyance. So as we work with the chakras, you'll be learning to turn them on and to access those qualities and characteristics more. So imagine that you can be able to have more clear seeing and actually begin to energetically be aware of what's going on at a new level.
Yeah, these energy centers are turned on. It's just that we're not conscious to it. So just by having that awareness of what the functions of them are, what they can do for you and those around you, then you'll start to be more aware of it and have things work more easily.
Okay, so we'll do chakras. We're going to be teaching you how to run earth and cosmic energies, and starting with the earth energy. As Lori was talking about earlier during the grounding, the earth is like a giant recycling center, but it also has its own energy. It has lots of different frequencies of energies, actually. And so as you learn to not only release into the planet, but bring energy up from the planet into your body, these tools of running the earth and cosmic energies are a way of clearing out your energy channels so that you can remove blocks. Again, you can feel much more connected, and you can have access to different vibrational levels of the earth that can serve you in different ways at different times. The earth energies tend to be fairly dense and intense and heavy, again, like the quality of earth. And then there's the cosmic energies.
Cosmic energies are lighter, and there's many places in space that you can put your attention and bring that energy in that helps to connect you to more spiritual levels, even your connection with the divine. And as you do that, along with the running the earth energy, you get that balance of having more connection with your body levels and your spiritual levels, and feeling that cleansing action throughout those channels, and supporting you and becoming more aware on both a body and spiritual level, to be more in tuned and imbalanced.
Yeah, really on earthly level and a cosmic level.
So it really creates a lot more wholeness with your body and energy field, and your connection with your spiritual levels as well.
Right, so you can be accessing the cosmic energies without getting spacey or spaced out. Has any of you ever known a person who's really kind of out in the cosmos there? They're real connected in the cosmos, and yet they have a hard time functioning day to day?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that meditate so much or are so deeply immersed in the spiritual levels that they don't really function too well on the physical plane because they're not dealing with it at all. So they're either called airy-fairy or
Space cadets.
yeah,
Or,
new age. So
and again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that this gives you an opportunity to really create a balance and to be able to have choice about whether you're more out in those cosmic spiritual realms or grounded here on the planet in the physical reality and the things that you need to take care of in your life.
that's what we want to emphasize, is that there's no one way. It's a matter of what we want to teach you is how to become more aware of what you can do, and then you have that choice.
Okay, the cosmic energies. After the earth and cosmic energy, we're going to work a lot more with the energy field. Again, as you run the earth and cosmic energies, you'll learn how to cleanse your energy field, how to repair your energy field.
Yeah, your
maintain it.
energy field has a lot of your memories in it. And as I shared, the energy bodies that are around your physical body correlate with the energy centers. So a lot of your abilities correlate, where it's almost like that we're a computer where we file away certain memories, certain experiences in our field. And so we can get access to that as a way to not have to go to the past, but access it in order to create a more fulfilling future. And not have to go to the future either. We can stay in the present and just have that awareness of what is in our field, and whatever we don't need. It's like just clearing our computer. We can just let it go and not have it congest in our field and affect us physically.
Right. And then we're going to do a whole class on rose tools, energy roses. And that may sound kind of weird, but trust us, there's some purpose to that.
Yes, and we'll describe the meaning of a rose symbolically, and how it can be so powerful to use it as a tool to begin with, and then some really effective tools to help define your space and cleanse, and more to come.
Yeah, and tools, and I know this is a big one for many sensitives, to use tools to be able to deflect energies that are coming towards you and quote, protect yourself from intense emotions and energies. Now, we'll go into a whole conversation about the difference between like protection and deflection and how you want to use these things, and even the mindset around that, and what the mindset around that can do, how it can affect you. But the idea here is that there's a whole series of tools. Once you've learned about your energy field and you're clear about that, then to be able to really define it and to distinguish between mine and yours. Now, I mentioned earlier maybe a time when somebody came up really close to you, when you could feel their energy inside your personal space, and it didn't feel good. The purpose here of these tools and defining your space is not to disconnect you from other people, but it's to be able to keep your energy, your unique vibrations working for you, and allow other people to keep their energies, their unique vibrations working for them.
Yeah, as soon as we say protection, sometimes it creates some resistance in our thoughts and our field. And what we want to teach you is to become more aware, so that defining your space is more that ability to have healthy boundaries and realizing that we're all connected. That's just a given with us all together, and yet we can become more aware so that we can be more open in communication and be able to have clear boundaries with each other without having to feel that resistance. We can just let that go.
Now, another way to think about this is you can think of your life force energy as the fuel for your body. And so the fuel that is best for your body is going to work the best. So let's say that I'm a diesel truck and Lori is a high performance sports car. And my diesel truck takes diesel fuel and her high performance sports car takes premium gas. Well, if we start intermingling my diesel and her high performance fuel, neither one of us is going to be able to function most effectively and run at our optimum. And so that's the idea, that we're not trying to protect or completely separate ourselves from one another. We're trying to keep ourselves, allow ourselves and others to function at our optimum.
And the more defined we are in our energy and our awareness, the more easily we're going to be able to interact with each other in a more neutral way. And so one of the other tools that we have is called the communication triangle.
Yeah, we're going to be teaching a series of communication tools that you can use, whether you're to communicate more clearly, more neutrally, more effectively, whether you're communicating one-on-one or whether you're communicating to a group. And I know as somebody who stands in front of groups quite often, it's really valuable, it's really useful to have this tool. One of the things that I used to do, and I know many other presenters and speakers who've fallen into this trap, is that when I would present information, I want to make sure that people would get it. And so I'd not only put the information out there, but I'd like put effort into it. And I would be really watching people to see, are they getting it? Are they getting it? Are they getting it? And I'd end up straining, and I'd end up not really present with the people because I was so worried about, are they getting it? And so these tools, these communication tools, are designed to help you be able to stay in a really clear and neutral place and to present from that clear and neutral place in a way that people are really the most likely to be able to receive the information. And also, if they choose not to receive the information, then that you don't take it personally or you don't take responsibility for that. So these communication tools, and actually this recording we're going to provide for you in just a couple of minutes is
our gift to you.
Yeah, our gift to you,
that.
And it's going to teach you one of these communication tools. So stick around. We've got just a couple more minutes before that. All right, and we're also going to teach you what's called a mock-up tool. And what this is, it's a very clear and simple and structured way to create desires and intentions and to send them out into the universe and to provide the clarity within them for the universe to most readily and quickly fulfill them. So it's a really powerful tool for using the creative flow of the universe.
You may remember several times where you had this intention and yet it didn't create what you wanted. And so this will help you to be able to see not only how sometimes our intentions aren't effective, but how to make them more effective by doing these steps.
And so much more. There will be one of the really great things about taking this as a class series and doing this work with us is that we get to interact. You get to ask questions, we get to give feedback, share our experiences, hear your experiences. So it's a lot of fun, and as we said, it's a time of play and experimentation. So there are different ways of doing this, of training and taking this course with us, training in these tools. You can do it one-on-one if you're the kind of person who knows that you function best or that you get the most value in working with a teacher one-on-one. We're happy to do that. Either Lori or I can provide that service with you, and we'll be more than happy to take you through all these tools and to spend the time individually and to make sure that you're getting it and you're using them to their utmost effect. And we'll do that with you, either one of us, for $2,000. We'd be happy to do that. And if you'd like to work one-on-one with either Lori or I, you can just send a private chat message and we'd be happy to respond to that and work out the details.
Yes, and it's really effective to do it one-on-one because you're not only learning the tools, but it's a form of life coaching as well as healing techniques too. It's all kind of rolled into one where you will be able to release energy and many levels, increase your healing on not only physical, but emotional and spiritual, as well as get the guidance and coaching, not by us telling you what to do, but guiding you to get your own wisdom from it within based on these abilities that you have in your energy centers and your energy field. So it is personal coaching based on the abilities that you already have, just by allowing them to blossom and expand and flourish.
And training you also in these tools. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ways to do it because I've taken people through this series before, and as Lori said, it's coaching, and it's working with the tools, and it's finding unique and very special applications for the tools, and working on specific incidences or events or circumstances. So we'd be happy to do that with you. Again, if you'd like to do that, just send a private message through the chat box. Now, we're also going to be doing a class series, and we'll do this as a teleclass. We'll be on the phone and the web with you each week. It starts next Wednesday, September 2nd. It's a live online course. Similar to today, we'll be having some visuals as well as interacting with you live. We'll be using a different tool. I just want to emphasize this, a different web tool, so that instead of having a delay like we have with this webinar program, this webinar software, we'll be able to interact with you live, and we'll be able to have a conversation back and forth. You can access either by phone and on the web combined, or you can access it completely on the web and interact with us either way. So that's 5 series starting next Wednesday, September 2nd.
Even though we prefer you to be live, it is recorded. So if you aren't able to attend every class, but a lot of the fun of this class is by interaction, having shares immediately, being able to talk back and forth, share your experiences, have your questions. So we do encourage you to attend it live. But of course, if you aren't able to attend the whole thing, you would get the whole class series.
Right, and one of the advantages of doing it like this in the group is that you get the benefit of the interaction with the group. And so if you're the kind of person who loves to be part of a group and interact and have a community of people, this would really be a way for you to do it.
And to hear other people's experiences. A lot of times, especially as sensitives, we think we're alone. We think that we're the only ones experiencing this. So by having a class where you do it in group, it allows you to say, hey, there's other people like me. This isn't abnormal. It's really an amazing ability that I can hone and use to my benefit as well as others. It's amazing. The more that you use these, the more conscious you become of how you can interact with others in a really effective way to really do something good for the whole world.
Right. So the tuition for the online course is $295. That's the tuition for the online course that we are offering. It's the live interaction, and again, as Lori said, it's recorded. You get the benefits of the group interaction as well, and you get to be with us week by week, sharing experiences, asking your questions, and interacting live. What we'd like to do, though, as part of this webinar, and because we are offering this course for the first time in several months here, and we're getting this back up and going, we'd like to offer this to you for attending the webinar, being part of this event for $145. So if you know you want to do this, it's $145. I'm going to put a link up on the screen here that you can just go ahead and click the link and go register for the course now. Again, if you know that you are ready to do this, then we would love to have you join us. And as just a little extra incentive, because we would love to be with you and have the opportunity to share these tools more, to get more people out in the world using these tools, for the first 25 people that register, we'll also give you a free 20 to 30-minute coaching call. So you get some of the benefit of the individual work as well as the benefit of the group work. And again, just click the Register Now button. It'll take you to the registration page, and you can go ahead and join and be ready to start with us on Wednesday. So take a moment and imagine. Imagine that you have not only practiced these tools that you learned today, that you have gained an entire toolbox of energy tools. Imagine that as a sensitive, that you now feel confident walking into almost any situation. The holiday parties with family, or maybe the holiday office party that you used to dread and worry about. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Am I going to be okay? Where can I go hide? Okay, I'm going to go find the corner, or I'll hang with just my husband and he'll protect me. You don't have to worry about those kinds of things anymore. Imagine not having to take things personally in the same way that you have before. Imagine that even if you do take on your boss's frustration and you find yourself feeling anxious and shaking, that you can go back to your own space and you can take a few moments and ground and release the energy, revitalize yourself, repair your energy field, take out the places where your boss might have shredded it a little bit.
Yeah, this isn't about being perfect or being in the center of your head all the time. It's about being able to be aware and have a choice.
Exactly.
And that's very empowering.
And imagine being so much more aware of your body and your field and other people's. And again, as I said a moment ago, feeling so confident in being able to handle yourself and being able to handle situations. That's what's available, and that's really what we want to invite you into. So go ahead, if you haven't, go ahead and just click the Register Now button, and it will take you to a registration page. Okay, so again, we very much look forward to having you be with us starting next Wednesday. We did promise something else for you, so let me go ahead and fulfill on that promise. And that is the download. So this is a class that we taught by phone a couple of years ago. It was specially for life coaches who were part of the training program I used to run. But this is a tool, it's useful for almost anybody, whether you're communicating one-on-one or whether you're working with people in groups, that the information in this recording will be of value to you. So this is our thank you for sticking around. It's our thank you for spending time on a Saturday to come and be with us. And we really appreciate you. We trust that you got value, and we so want to be able to provide more tools and more fun and more value for you.
I love your comments as well. We're available at cliff@empowerpeople.com or Lori, Loree, @empowerpeople.com. So please keep in touch. If you have any questions, we're free to answer those for you. We want to support you in becoming the best you can be.
Absolutely. We want you to be able to know that you have everything that you need as a sensitive and as a human being and a citizen of the planet. So again, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you, we love you, and we look forward to interacting with you somehow, somewhere, very soon. With that, we will say, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday, play with your tools, practice the grounding, the point of presence and center of head, the gold suns. Tell us what you experienced. Send us an email. We want to hear from you, and we'll say goodbye for now. Bye for now.
Have a great day.